Dear Dad, since your death came so suddenly, I wanted to tell you some things that I didn't get a chance to. And making this video, however crazy it might seem, it's it's the only thing I can think of. I don't know if there is an afterlife, but if there is, and you have access to YouTube, perhaps you're watching this video just like you used to watch my videos when you were alive. So, yeah. What can I say, Dad? I feel lost without you these last couple of months. You passed away last November, and it left a wound in my heart that hasn't quite healed, and to be completely honest, I didn't expect it to affect me so deeply. I kind of thought I would be less emotional about it, but the truth is, I can't believe that I'm going to spend the rest of my life without you. So, I hope you're okay wherever you are. I hope that you are no longer in pain. I hope you are at peace. I hope you are with your parents, who I know you love very much. And I don't know, I kind of wonder if you were there at the funeral, you know, like in spirit. In case you weren't, it was nice. It was me, it was your wife, your brother, your sister, and their kids. Despite it being November, the weather was actually pretty good. It was like a sunny autumn day, and we buried your ashes in your parents' grave as you requested. I just, I remember when I got the call and I heard that you had passed away, I just could not believe it. Like, we had spoken just 2 weeks before that, and I honestly didn't suspect that that would be our last conversation. And so these last couple of months, I have been seeing your face in my head, and I've been remembering these father-son moments from my childhood. We didn't have too many of them, did we, Dad? Like, I know and I appreciate that you always tried to be a good father to me. I keep remembering this one time when I was about 7 or 8 years old. You came to see me at school, and I was confused because it was out of the ordinary, that parents showed up at school. But you were there and you brought gifts to me, I think like potato chips and some toys. And I didn't understand it at the time. And to be honest, I didn't understand it until you passed away. That you were just trying to see me. Because after the divorce, you could only see me on Saturdays. I lived with my mom and you lived alone. And it must have been painful. I never really considered it until now. I regret not spending enough time with you. I regret not seeing you for the past 10 years. 10 years, Dad. We spoke a lot of times on the phone, and we both had a fear of flying. We both blamed the distance. We planned to meet someday, but we just never got a chance to do it. With us, I know it's not a matter of who is to blame. We deal with the cards that we are given in life. But when we spoke for hours. We talked about important things, especially when you got sick. I remember that your biggest concern, it wasn't actually death itself. You were mostly worried that you weren't a good enough person in life. And I remember that I told you that we all make mistakes. I know some of the mistakes that you did in life, and I never blamed you for it. Life is hard. It's very easy to point fingers at other people. But like your dear Bible says, let him who is without sin cast the first stone. I know you were a good person in your hearts. You worried about everyone more than you worried about yourself. You often worried about me, and sometimes to the point of irritation. I will always cherish the memories of you and me spending time together. Whether it was, taking long walks or watching movies or playing poker. Recently, I've been looking at this copy of The Last Will that you wrote. And it's so strange to read it. Partially because my Polish is not very good, but also because it's hard to imagine you writing it while being sick. You know that? It's really strange. For some reason, I never thought of being included in your will. It's very unlike me because I'm a very strategic person. My life has always felt like a big chessboard where I try to calculate opportunities and obstacles. I should have seen the will, but I didn't. I suppose I didn't expect you to die. Or maybe it's because I thought that you weren't proud of me. Which is something that I'm wondering about. Like, were you proud of me? I know if you were alive and we would be having this conversation, obviously you would say that you were, but were you really? It's weird, but it's not because you showed hard expectations of me. I know you often worried that you weren't a good father. I know you worried that I was disappointed in you. So it's kind of funny how similar we are. I was never disappointed in you. You were always understanding, honest, and kind. We never really argued, except when it came to my studies, because it was so important to you that I got my university degree. But like you, I never fit in, It's funny how incredibly similar we turned out to be. We were both good at school and work. We just never loved it. And that's why I keep making these videos. I know we both preferred solitude at home. And since you passed, my brain has been generating thousands and thousands of questions that I regret never asking you. Like, I'm kind of curious how your relationship was with your dad. I'm curious about your childhood and how it was for you growing up. And mostly how it was for you when we moved from Poland to Sweden. It must have been so scary living in a country where you couldn't understand or speak the language. I know we talked about these things, but it feels like bits and pieces now, Okay, one of my biggest regrets, Dad, is actually that I never called you Dad or Father. I should have. But when you and Mom divorced, it felt strange calling you Dad, and you never seemed to mind that I called you by your first name. But as I've grown older, I realized that you probably did mind. I mean, if I were you, I would have been upset. But you were my dad. You were a great dad. And, maybe you weren't the best husband. At least that's what Mom says. But I was never angry with you. Whatever happened between you and Mom, that was between you two. You always treated me well. You can't believe what I wouldn't do to have just one more day with you. And it just kills me to think how little time we spent together these last 10 years. Life keeps you busy and sometimes too busy for the things that matter. Now I can sit here and, as usual, I can blame everything on wage slavery. But in the end, you make time for what matters to you. I suppose I always thought we had more time. So, after you passed, your wife, she gave me your ring, your necklace, and your wristwatch. And when I look at these things, I remember how we spent time together when I was a kid. I would see you every Saturday. We would rent movies, buy pizza, and have a great time. I wish I could have told you in life that those were my fondest childhood memories. You know, dealing with death, it's hard. You know, the pain is like really sharp. You know that you will never meet the person again for the rest of your life. There is nothing you can do about it, and you have to somehow accept it. And it's been like, I don't know, 8 months since you passed, and I still don't know how to let you go. In a strange way, I feel like death has brought me closer to you. You know, you take people in life for granted, but when they're gone, you cherish them. It really should be the other way around. You know, it's funny, I actually remember you would often quote this thing. I don't know if it was from the Bible or not, but it was something like, we should hurry to love in life because eternity awaits. And so here we are, you know, you're dead and I'm missing you. You know, love has always confused me, you know, what it actually means. And I have to admit that I wasn't sure that I loved you, Dad. But now that you're gone, things are clear to me. You know, the pain is real and it makes me see the truth. I know that I loved you and I miss you deeply. I don't believe in the afterlife, but I really hope that I'm wrong about that because I want to believe that I will see you again someday. Until then, I have to stay hungry, relentless, and strong in my conviction that I will. Rest in peace, Dad. Rest in peace.
No cudne, cudne. Dziękuję ci, synku.
No myślę, do Marii jeszcze.
Wyślij. A ciastko dostanę jakieś? Patrz, jak on chowa przede mną.
Ja tu